Joe, you texted me about this week. So I read the actual article. There was an executive/player driven survey on the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. And basically, we're going to go through it. I want your take on where you have issues with it. The top 3, which shouldn't surprise too many people. Maybe you could say Russ is above Brady, which I would probably say. You've got Mahomes, Rodgers, Tom, Wilson. And then at 5th, if I'm scrolling down, it's Josh Allen. I would probably put, if I'm adjusting it, like if I want to nitpick Brady, I'll put him 4th.
Yeah.
I know some people would say Dak. I think Dak should be a lot higher than he is on the list as well. So, Joe, I just want to get your take on it because I know you had a lot of issues with it.
First of all, Mahomes. Here's my first issue with it. He is undeniably number 1.
Yes.
Okay. How is his lowest ranking 3?
Yeah.
Like, how is that possible? Okay.
Someone ranked Tom number 1?
Best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. I think somebody probably look, here's the thing about media, especially, and look, I like ESPN. I read their sports content all the time. I prefer their articles to their TV shows because I think they're actually, more well-researched than Stephen A going up there and just saying stupid stuff. But what I will say about this is, like, they are very swayed by recency, right? And Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. And last year, people thought Brady was washed. So the thing about Brady is there's always just going to be overhyping him when he does well. And by overhyping, I mean in terms of standing in the league. In terms of standing all the time, they're not overhyping him. He's the GOAT. But he's not the third best. I don't think he's the third best quarterback in the league. I think he's 4th, maybe 5th. And so I think there was that 1 or 2 people who were like, you know what, Tom's number 1, Rodgers number 2, or Rodgers number 1, Tom number 2. And they just, aren't considering the fact that Mahomes with Brady's roster last year would have literally maybe gone 15-1, 16-0.
I mean, I think he would have done what Tom Brady couldn't do in 2007 with that.
He might have gone undefeated. Yeah.
I mean, that team was built for success before Tom even got there. They just had the worst quarterback in the league. They had a quarterback that couldn't see.
Well,
he was legally blind.
Yeah. I think they needed a guy like Tom to actually show him how to win. But yes, I agree with that.
If you do replace him with Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, I think it would still be the same result. You just need that leadership.
Yeah, I agree.
You need that leadership.
I agree. But yeah, where are your issues with this? I know you probably have issue with Dak at 7. Because I think you could argue bare minimum Dak should be 6. I think Dak's better than Stafford, and honestly, you could argue he's better than Josh Allen because Josh Allen's only done it for a year.
And you can argue he's better than Tom Brady. Look, Tom Brady is still a great quarterback. He's 44, but that's a number I think. Is he 44?
He's about to turn 44.
He's about to turn 44. That's just a number I think that these execs and coaches are astounded by. Like, he's doing this at such an high age.
Well, and keep in mind, he's the greatest football player of all time, so he's gonna get that.
That doesn't matter for this though.
Yeah,
it's for the season ahead of us.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like you're trying to think the fact that he's doing this makes him so much better than he is. It doesn't. It makes him like the rest of the quarterbacks you're voting on.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, I would definitely put Dak Prescott and Josh Allen above Tom Brady right now.
I would not put Josh Allen above Tom Brady.
After that season, though, I mean, come on.
Look, I think that you can make a case
but
for
you're
Dak
going
Prescott.
off of history if you're saying that, though.
No, you're not.
Going off of history
you're not,
for Josh
because who
Allen.
won and who didn't. Who beat the Chiefs and who didn't. And here's the other thing about Brady. Like, you can say what you want about him. I think maybe before the playoffs, you could have said Josh Allen because of the historic season he had. But Allen's done it for 1 year. Tom Brady's been playing at the highest level for pretty much the better part of 20. And yes, age is catching up with him a little. But when you look at who's winning the bigger games, it is Brady. So I could see the argument for Brady over Allen easily. Brady over Prescott, there's even a reasonable argument. But I know I even said as early as January that Prescott was a better quarterback. I mean, when you look at Prescott's passing yards over those 5 games, what was he averaging? Over 500 a game? I read that Prescott, in the 5 games he played, the Cowboys led the league in passing yards, and they were bottom 6 when he wasn't playing. That tells you how good and important Dak Prescott is. I think a lot of people unfairly hate on Dak, but Allen Brady, I'm putting Brady all day. The dude's coming off a Super Bowl, and he's naturally gonna get a little bit of a push. But I can definitely see your argument for Prescott, and I might even agree with you if I'm being honest with you.
Look, I don't care that much about fighting you with Josh Allen. Okay.
You just
I'm
care
not
that I
gonna-
say Dak. You just care that I say Dak.
I know. I really just don't. I don't want to go into Josh Allen because, first of all, I mean, if we're comparing to last season, he finished second in MVP
Yeah, I
voting.
know.
He had a great season.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think if you might be right about like history, it was one season. If this was 3 seasons in the making
Oh,
for
I'd be
Josh
Allen
Allen,
100%
3 great
on
seasons,
Allen,
it would be Allen over Tom Brady all the way.
I agree.
But I mean, I'll give you that one. Russ, I might have to like. I don't like putting him over Tom Brady.
But I think he is.
I think he is. I don't like him putting him over Dak Prescott. I think he is though. He slips every season, it seems like.
Yes.
You know, he gets so much MVP hype. He plays to that hype for like 4 weeks, and then he starts to slip. Okay. I mean, I don't like him being 4th on this list.
Yeah.
But I know he is. I know he is top 5 still.
Yeah.
But I just don't like it.
But here we should break down the really problematic stuff towards the closer to the bottom. Yes. I know we had a lot of issues with this.
You want to start with the bottom, or you want to start with Matt Stafford?
Okay, well, Stafford for one, I think is overrated. I like Stafford a lot, but I think he's not the 6th best quarterback in the league.
I think he's overrated. I think he's top 10 though.
Agreed. 100%.
Now I think he will be top 10. I don't think he's top 10 right now. Like, granted, he had no help. The only players he has had that you can say helped him is Calvin Johnson and TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue Galladay for a year, but Galladay was out last year.
And you can also argue Marvin Jones because he never fumbled, but like he also dropped a lot of passes. Yeah. I mean, but those 2 players are probably the best weapons he's ever had.
Yes. And that's where like it's hard to rate Stafford, and I think the article was even talking about this.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't really had anything before Calvin Johnson, or like since Calvin Johnson. But let's be honest here, right? You're putting him above Dak Prescott. Like, Dak Prescott led the league in passing yards by a country mile before he got hurt. And it's not his fault. His defense was crap. And this is coming from a guy who relishes the Cowboys when they suck. So.
Yeah. He was. Yeah, sorry, my internet. He was on pace to reach 6,000 yards before the 17-week season, which will be this year.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he got injured, like, probably, just was such a sad moment, because, I mean, he could have done it with that defense, making him play catch up every single game.
Yes.
Right.
And when we look towards the bottom, like, I'd say, right, you can do your adjustments in the top 5 through 7. But it's nothing like outside of Stafford over Prescott and Allen over Prescott. It's not that egregious. The bigger thing that is problematic, I mean, I don't have an issue with Lamar at 8. I don't really have an issue with Herbert or Murray in there. I know you took issue with Murray just because he kind of slipped towards the end of last year and slipped big time. But when we look at the receiving votes column, Joe, I want you to point a couple of these names out for us that really annoyed you.
Okay, let's see. Matt Ryan kind of annoys me because he's slipping and he lost his best weapon.
Yep.
Okay. He lost Julio. I mean, he got Kyle Pitts in return, but Julio, I think, made him better than what he actually is. Okay. I'm going to say that. I think the 2016 season, it was great, MVP caliber season, but having Julio helped tremendously.
Yes.
Derek Carr, I have no idea why he's receiving votes. Actually, I get why he would be receiving.
He played well last year.
Yeah, he played well. But I mean, is he top 10 though?
No, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd put him.
I would not put him there. I'd put Ryan Tannehill above him right now.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument for that. Yeah, but also with Tannehill, there's the counter argument that I understand as well. With he's obviously right. When he was in Miami, he was more good. He wasn't great. And then in Tennessee, he had a few really great weeks in an ideal system with a lot of support. Offensively at least.
Now, Joe Burrow, he had an ACL injury. I don't think he can really say how good he will be next year.
Played 9 games.
Because 9 games out of 16 though.
Exactly. It's not enough to judge.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins. I don't think you can vote for someone who's on the hot seat this year.
He's always on the hot seat, it seems. I mean, you know me.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Kirk Cousins fan because he's solid but unspectacular. That's the best way I can describe Kirk Cousins.
Baker Mayfield should be in the top 10. Dude's good. Okay.
I might
I
have
would
to
put
see
him-
a little bit, but I like him a lot. You know I like him.
I don't like putting rookies in my top 10 or people coming off a rookie season because it's one season, okay, and they could be like they could have a sophomore slump the next year. Who
True.
knows?
True.
Baker Mayfield, I think, could be number 10, and you push Kyler Murray to Justin Herbert's spot at 9.
Yeah.
And then the last one,
yeah.
I mean, go
This
on.
is the big problem, the one that's coming up.
Yeah.
I don't have that much of an issue with Herbert in my top 10, but because he was good, but also I do see your point. Like we talked about Allen, right? Allen wasn't even in this conversation a year ago because he was kind of mediocre. I mean, you can ask we have a friend, Noah, who's going to be our roommate next year.
Yeah.
Big Bills fan, literally was infuriated by Josh Allen through his first 2 seasons.
Last year he was unranked.
But Allen was number 2 in MVP voting. So we get how he's in the top 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks because he was phenomenal objectively. The issue here is with Herbert. It's one really, really great season, but it's a rookie season. Teams could figure him out. I see your point on that. I like him, but I get the point. I like Baker. That's another thing, right? Where he was on the hot seat entering last year and he played well down the stretch, but he wasn't anything like crazy. And that's what I just need to see. I think this year, we've talked about this, second year, new coach, Joe's been bringing up this point, like same coach, that could be helpful to him. The big issue, Joe, we're looking at the bottom of this list, and it's Carson Wentz. And Joe, I'll just let you talk about this because you've been calling out Carson Wentz for years, and last year you looked hella smart doing it.
Look, Carson Wentz has had one good season. Okay, what season was 2017?
It was 2017. Yeah, he was in MVP conversation, but then he blew out his knee and Brady got it.
Sam, how many good seasons has he had after that? Like how many elite MVP seasons?
None.
Okay, how many great seasons has he had?
I don't even know if I could say one. Like I don't know Carson Wentz's career at the back of my hand, but I think ever since the injury, he was not at that level ever again.
I'm just going to help you out. 0. Okay. So why do people think he is miraculously going to have a complete turnaround in Indianapolis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. His receiving core is not fully better than what it was in Philly.
Yeah.
Okay. He got benched in Philly. That's how bad he was playing.
Yeah, and he did have no support, but Hurts actually played better than him in the 3 or 4 games he played.
And people are automatically putting him as a dark horse MVP candidate already, which is insane and should not be happening. For all I care, it is still Carson Wentz on the hot seat, even with a new team. Okay, he could be cut by the end of the year next year if he doesn't play well, for all I care. And I bet you he might. Okay, his NFL career is not going to be long lasting. It is not good. He was overrated in 2017, and he's overrated now. But even more so. Carson Wentz is not going to flip the Indianapolis Colts around. I think if anyone's saying Indianapolis is going to be winning the division, they do not watch football. It is clearly the Tennessee Titans as favorites. And honestly, just stop hyping up Carson Wentz. I mean, that's all I got to say. He doesn't deserve it. He's not good.
I'm with you. And Joe, normally when you have radical takes, I try to see the other side of the coin. I tried to defend Carson Wentz for a while last year. I mean, I was never passionately pro Wentz, but you know me. I tend to be more I don't tend to jump to conclusions. I tend to evaluate things very slowly and carefully. Carson Wentz was flaming hot crap last year. There's no other way you can spin it. And quite honestly, the only thing I can see in Indy is he's got a better O-line and a better defense. And maybe that's enough for him to put up slightly better numbers, at least with the O-line. But that's a run-based offense. Maybe he excels in the RPO game, but I don't think he's ever been as elite with his knee, and he fumbles a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, as well. I am not a Wentz guy. I never really was, with the exception of the year he was almost MVP. And I don't think that he is going to be competing with the Titans, if we're talking about that. Maybe we all look dumb, but I don't think we will. And I mean, he doesn't even fully have the job locked down from what I totally understand. So we're just going to have to see. I mean, you'd think he'd be the favorite, but there are other guys in contention for that job.
You got Jacob Eason and Sam Ellinger, I believe.
Yeah.
All competing for that starting bid. But yeah. So I think that's it for the top 10 catastrophe. That is the ESPN's top 10 quarterbacks.
I think the lone fact Wentz got a vote pretty much makes it a catastrophe.
He had to get multiple votes to even be listed. I think.
That's the biggest issue I have with it.